Stranger Things is ending very soon, and with its conclusion, it'll be the last time we see all these beloved characters. So to say farewell to this show, let's take a look at this cast and rank them all on this tier list. And just a reminder, this is how I would personally rank these characters, and you should feel free to leave your own rankings down in the comments. But let's get started with Dustin Henderson. Dustin is a fan favorite, and for good reason. He's hilarious, he's always involved in the plot, and Gaten Matarazzo is fantastic in this role. And over the past seasons, he has entertaining stories like the one where he gets more confidence in season 2, or his more darker storyline he's having in season 5. Dustin is just a goated character with so many funny moments. He's going in S tier. Next up, we have some of the Wheeler family, starting with Ted Wheeler. I'm gonna be honest, I have mixed feelings on Ted. On one hand, he's pretty funny at times, and I do enjoy his typical boomer distant dad thing, but he also doesn't really have very many redeeming qualities. So I'll put him in C tier because he's not a good character, but he's also not completely awful. Next, we have Karen Wheeler, the best Wheeler parent. Karen was always a nice presence in the show. She never had story relevance until season 5 though, so for that she can't go any higher than B tier. Next, we have Holly Wheeler, a character I genuinely forgot existed before season 5. Yeah, for the majority of the show, she's pretty much not a character, but she's pretty important for season 5, so I'll throw her in C tier. And now we have Mike Wheeler. This is gonna be a hot take, but Mike Wheeler is by far the weakest of the 4 original boys. It's not because he himself is a bad character, or that Finn Wolfhard is bad in this role or anything like that, but across 5 seasons of television, Mike has very little going on. He had story relevance in the first season, as the driving force that made the boys search for Will, but in season 2 he's just Will's friend and is chilling with him the whole season. In season 3 he's Eleven's useless boyfriend who does nothing and just sits on the sidelines as Elle does her thing. In season 4 he's part of the worst storyline of that season, but at least in season 5 he's back to having story relevance and is actually doing things in the plot again, thank goodness. But still, being a main character for 2 out of 5 seasons for someone who is 4th billed is just ludicrous. So Mike Wheeler is gonna have to go in D tier because he should not be as irrelevant as he currently is. Argyle is next, and despite being part of that lackluster season 4 storyline I mentioned earlier, his personality and sheer entertainment value bumps him up in the ranking. He's going in B tier. Next is the most controversial character of the series, Billy Hargrove. There has been a lot of debate over whether Billy's redemption at the end of season 3 was deserved, given how bad of a person he was in season 2. Some people really do not like this plotline, but I have to say I think it does kind of work. What we learn about Billy's past of course doesn't excuse his actions in season 2, but that context does pave the way for his sacrifice to make sense. And I like Billy mostly for how he affects Max's overall story, and for his cold as hell introduction in season 2. Freaking awesome, he's going in B tier. A brand new season 5 character, Derek, is next.
Suck my fat one! Jesus, what?
Derek is great, he's hilarious. Jake Connolly is good in this role, and he's actually pretty important for the storyline of season 5. So yeah, good character, B tier. Next up is Dr. Brenner, or Papa. Let's call him Papa. Why not? Papa is fine, but not the most interesting character. He's important for the overall story. He's the catalyst for many plotlines involving Eleven and Vecna. But Papa is just sort of boring, and maybe the most forgettable character of the entire series. So Papa's going in D tier, and that's a funny sentence. Next up we have the Demogorgon, the Demodogs, and the Bat Things. I grouped them together because they serve the same purpose. They're the brainless stooges that serve as a secondary antagonists for most of the series. They're scary looking, powerful, and make for a solid obstacle for the characters to overcome. But they're not really characters with personalities, so I'll give them all a solid C tier. If you ever find yourself in the Upside Down, you have to watch out for Demogorgons, weird Bat Things, and even Vecna himself. But thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Proton VPN, you don't have to worry about your digital identity. With over 100 million users today, Proton VPN is built by the same team of scientists behind Proton Mail from CERN. While they can't stop you from being tracked down by Vecna and his swarm of Demogorgons, Proton VPN hides your IP address so websites and data brokers can't find you. Proton VPN acts as intermediaries between your device and the internet, encrypting your device when you use a Proton VPN server. This prevents your ISP from viewing your activity and hides your real IP address from websites. Simply choose choose which country you want to connect to, and just like that, you are browsing from another country, giving you access to a whole new world of content on your favorite streaming sites, while also keeping your data private. So if you want the same freedom to watch whatever you want while also protecting your online identity, Proton VPN is the way to go. And right now, with the Black Friday offer, you can get the VPN Plus plan for just $2.49 a month. That is 75% off, meaning you save $105. You can use the link in my description or head to protonvpn.com/anothernick to check out while the offer is still live. Thanks to Proton VPN for sponsoring this video, and now back to the Mind Flayer. And I think the Mind Flayer is a little better than other Upside Down entities because it had some semblance of actual thought. I understand the Mind Flayer was another Vecna creation, but it was still a scary and effective main villain for seasons 2 and 3. So for that, I'll put it in B tier. Eddie Munson. Eddie is a good character despite some flaws. He's a one-season wonder, and I love his character arc of going from a coward to a genuine hero. Joseph Quinn is great in this role, but there are some choices with this character that are genuinely cringy. So because of that, he has to go in A tier. Jim Hopper, another goated character. He's one of the main characters of the show, so of course he's always going to be heavily involved with the plot, and there's a lot of great storytelling with his character. He grew into this loving father figure because of his past experiences with losing a daughter, and David Harbour really makes this character. He gives a genuinely great performance in each and every season, but he doesn't get the S tier because I'm tired of the show constantly death baiting Hopper. They keep doing this thing where they're like, oh, maybe he's gonna die this time, but not really. You fake out killed him in season 3. We know you're not actually gonna kill him off, so stop pretending that you might. It's honestly a really frustrating part of this character. So because of that, he's going in A tier. Next is Erica Sinclair. I'm quite fond of Erica. She doesn't have much of an impact on the story, but she doesn't really need to. She adds some humor, and I like her characterization of being an almost secret nerd, so she'll go in B tier. Next is Jason Carver. Do you remember Jason Carver? Because I barely do. He was the satanic panic basketball man from season 4. He was a fine antagonist, kind of an interesting way to inject the 80s satanic panic into the show, but the character himself is laughably stupid and evil and kind of ridiculous. Yeah, he's going in D tier. Next is Jonathan Byers. Jonathan is okay, not the best character, but not the worst. He's one of those characters who started out strong but stagnated very quickly. He was a central character in season 1 since it was his brother who went missing, and I enjoyed the romance plotline in season 2, but from season 3 onward, he's just kinda there. He's more active in the overall story, unlike Mike, but he doesn't have much for himself. But Charlie Heaton is pretty good in every season, so he'll go in B tier. Next one is gonna sting, but it's Alexei. Everyone's favorite Slurpee drinking, game winning Soviet sweetheart. Alexei is one of the best parts of season 3, and his death hit like a Mack truck. He wasn't here for long, but he certainly made a lasting impression.
I'm going with you. Oh, God. It's time to go back.
A tier. Next up is Lucas Sinclair, the third of the original boys. I think Lucas is absolutely up there with Dustin. He has great stories throughout the seasons, he has a distinct personality, and he's also the MVP in some moments. Lucas is also gonna go in S tier. I also think he has a very well written relationship with our next character, Max Mayfield. Max is an incredible Stranger Things character. There's a ton of mystery to her when she's first introduced in season 2, and she struggles to open up to Lucas and the other kids. Then in season 3, we see the relationship between her and Lucas grow, and of course season 4 is really her season, as she's forced to face her grief head on, and she has what I think is the singular best scene of the entire show. The Kate Bush scene still goes incredibly hard. I'm not sorry. And it must be said, Sadie Sink is a great actress and she is so darn good as this character. So Max is an easy S tier character, no doubt about it. We have another season 5 character in Dr. K. As of me making this video, we really don't know much about her, but it's cool that they got Linda Hamilton to play her. Friggin' Sarah Connor, so C tier. Next up is everyone's favorite schizophrenic wine mom, Joyce Byers. She is again another one of the best characters of this show. Just like Hopper, she's always involved in the main plot. She gets well-written personal stories every season, and Winona Ryder is always great as this character, especially in the first season when Will is missing. That's maybe the best acting of the entire show. And the romance between Joyce and Hopper is so wholesome and a great heartbeat for this show. She's yet another easy S tier character, but this tier list is about to get depressing as hell because the next character is Bob.
That's the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
To this day, I still have not emotionally recovered from Bob's death. I don't think there's ever been a more pure soul in this whole show. And while Bob may not have had some incredible story or rich history, what he did have was an incredibly wholesome and kind personality. He's just a good guy who died saving the other characters. And Bob would not be the same without Sean Astin. I mean, casting Samwise Gamgee as another wholesome, lovable character is perfect, which again makes his death hit so much harder. An easy S tier. Next up is Murray. I don't know, Murray is fine. He has some funny jokes here and there, and he is a necessary character for the Hopper and Joyce storylines, but he does become annoying sometimes. And I feel like he doesn't really mesh with the rest of the cast. He's just always there for some reason. Murray's gonna go in C tier. But then we got Nancy Wheeler. I haven't revealed my absolute favorite Stranger Things character yet, but Nancy is easily my second favorite. She has maybe the craziest character change across the 5 seasons. In season 1, she's just your average typical teenage girl who's occupied with boys and college and stuff like that. But by the time of the 5th season, she's freaking John Rambo. I mean, she literally led the charge against Vecna and fully planned on icing that dude. She's simply a badass, what can I say? If I were power scaling these characters, I'd say she's maybe the 4th strongest, behind Vecna, Eleven, and Hopper. She's simply that gal. Nancy Wheeler has to go in S tier. Absolutely the best Wheeler. Dr. Sam Owens is next. He's very similar to Papa, but I think I do like him more simply because he has had a character change. He went from an almost antagonist role in season 2 to a full-on ally to the main characters in season 4. But still, he's not that compelling, so C tier. And next is the main girl herself, Eleven. May I ask, is Eleven actually anyone's favorite character from this show? I mean, no judgment if she is. I've just genuinely never seen anyone say that Eleven was their favorite character. I would say Elle is a solid character, just not one I've particularly loved over the years. Her stories weren't always the most interesting, especially in season 3 or her god-awful episode in season 2 where she met 8. Well, by the way, I originally didn't even include 8 on this tier list because I couldn't possibly predict that she would be brought back for season 5, because that's a really dumb idea. Why are we bringing back the terrible character from the terrible episode? If I cared enough to include her, she'd probably go in D tier, but anyway. Eleven does have a very strong overarching story of finding her place in the world, and growing strong enough to learn how to protect it. And Millie Bobby Brown is solid in this role, so Eleven is going in A tier. Going from the main character of the show to someone no one remembers, Grigory. Do y'all remember this guy? Yeah, he isn't really a character. He's just someone for Hopper to fight in season 3. So yeah, D tier. Up next is Barb. Frickin' Barb. I guess also D tier. Her whole point is just to die, so I don't know, it's Barb. What do you want me to say? Next is Dimitri. A lot of people dogged on the Soviet plotline from Stranger Things season 4, which I do not understand in the slightest. I think that storyline is really great, and Dimitri is a big part of that. He has his own little story arc of finding a new strength to get home to his son, and I mean, he's the Valar Morghulis guy from Game of Thrones, so a solid B tier. Oh boy, next up is Robin. If we were only talking about season 3, she'd easily be an A tier character, but with each season that passes, she gets dumber and dumber. They up the whole fast talking shtick so much to the point of annoyance. And I understand that's something that Maya Hawke does. She talks fast and has a very nervous energy about her, but season 3 Robin didn't really have that. She was slightly more reserved, slightly more confident, and much more enjoyable of a character. I still think Robin has good moments here and there, but she has to go in C tier. Susie is next. She's fine if not completely irrelevant. So far she's really only had a few scenes in the show, with her most notable scene of course being that scene. But other than that, she's just fine. C tier. Next up is Will Byers, one of the most important characters of the whole series who doesn't really have that much screen time because he's missing for all of season 1, and during season 2 he was mostly controlled by the Mind Flayer at that point. You can immediately feel for this poor kid who's having all this terrible stuff happen to him. But once he begins to have his own agency in season 3 and 4, he becomes a rather lackluster character. He doesn't really do much outside of hinting to the fact that he's gay, but at least he becomes more of a central character in season 5. He has a solid character story of coming to accept himself and finding this new power he didn't know he had, but still looking at his character as a whole, I have to put him in B tier. Up next is Steve freaking Harrington. This may be a basic opinion, I may be super unoriginal, I might even be the Buzz Lightyear meme, but I don't care. Steve is hands down the best character in Stranger Things. The best characters in fiction are almost always the ones that start out as antagonists but turn good. Zuko, Darth Vader, Apollo Creed, there's a bunch of examples. And that's kind of the character arc that Steve Steve goes on. He starts out as a typical high school jock who bullies Jonathan, harasses Nancy, and is just overall kind of the worst. But he sees the effect that his actions have had, and he has a change. He grows up, becomes more mature, and shows his true character over and over and over again. Whenever the kids are in trouble, Steve is there. He puts himself on the line so many times throughout this series. He's witty, hilarious, still kind of an ass at times, but very endearing. And Joe Keery is phenomenal in this role. He steals every single scene that he is in. And frankly, Steve is too good for S tier. He's going in Steve tier.
I'm Steve.
And the final character is, of course, Vecna, or Henry, or One, or Mr. What's-It, whatever you prefer to call him. We're just gonna call him Vecna. I think the best thing that Stranger Things has done, and the reason season 4 remains the best season of the show, is give the series a main villain. Not another monster, not another group of animals for the characters to survive. A singular person who's the source of everything bad that happens. Having a central antagonist raises the stakes, gives us someone to root against, and makes the storytelling much richer. The character relationships between Vecna and Eleven, or Vecna and Will, are interesting and well developed. Jamie Campbell Bower gives a completely transformational performance as Vecna, and I love both the character design and the practical effects for his gross looking body. Vecna is a very strong villain and absolutely one of the best aspects of Stranger Things, so he's going in S tier. And to end this ranking, I'm gonna rank some of the minor characters who I didn't feel like going in depth on. Scott Clark, B tier. Chrissy Cunningham, C tier. Fred Benson, C tier. Victor Creel, B tier. Vicky, B tier. Yuri, D tier. And finally the GOAT, Agent Harmon. He's going in A tier. Bro had frickin' aimbot. And that's my ranking of every Stranger Things character. Make sure to let me know how you would rank these characters down below, and also check out this video right here. I'm sure it's one you're gonna enjoy.